All right, hey guys, this lesson is going to go over sales tax. It's lesson 2.2 from our math book. So you should have your math book out and ready to go, and you need a calculator as we watch this. So here is our learning intention for today. It says I can use proportional relationships to find the amount of tax charged for an item. So today we are going to learn how to find tax when you buy something at a store. So please open your math book to page 73. So first thing, tax is an amount of money added to the price of certain goods and services. So when you go and buy a shirt at a store, you usually don't just pay for the shirt. You have to pay, like if it was $10 for the shirt, plus you have to pay a little sales tax. If you go get gas, you pay sales tax. So you do pay tax on a lot of different items. Tax is usually calculated as a percentage of the cost of the item. So if your shirt's $10, the sales tax might be like 5% of that. That's what you add to it. Some common forms of tax are sales tax. That's the one you guys probably know the most. Income tax, property tax, and hotel tax. So those are some different types. The money that you pay for taxes is usually used to pay for some government services, like fixing the roads in your city or that kind of thing. So we are going to work on finding sales tax today. So sales tax, it's a state or a local tax added to the price of an item or a service. So every county has a different sales tax percentage. So we're going to work on finding some sales tax. So here is your first problem. So again, like I said, you have a $10 t-shirt and the sales tax rate is 7.5%. So you have to pay that $10 plus you're going to pay an extra 7.5%. Okay. So here is one way that you could solve this problem. I want you guys to go over in the margin. So first thing that you could do is you could say, okay, my whole price of the shirt is $10. Okay, my sales tax percentage is 7.5%. Percent's always out of 100. And then I'm going to put my X on top. So a lot of you guys like solving that way. So go ahead on your calculator, type it in right now. 7.5 times 10 and then divided by 100. That ends up being 75 cents. Okay, now that's just the tax you're going to pay. So you have to pay for the $10 t-shirt. Okay, that's what you paid for the shirt, plus you pay an extra 75 cents in tax. So your total is going to be $10.75. So we just found sales tax for that t-shirt. Now, some of you like to use the equation, so you could also do it a different way. So remember, you can do the percent times the whole. That's going to give you the part. So if I do that, I can take my percent, which is 7.5%. I need to take that times the $10. If you're doing it that way, remember you have to change that percent to a decimal. So I move it back twice. So it's 0.075 times 10, which will still give you 75 cents. And then you would add it to the $10. All right, please flip to page 74 and let's try another one. It says Carrie wants to buy sports equipment that costs $140 and the sales tax in her city is 5.75%. So we want to know how much is she going to pay. So again, you can just do this anywhere where you have space on this whole page. I'm going to set it up using a proportion to start with. So I know the sales tax percent is 5.75. That always goes over 100. And her total is $140. And I need the part, the sales tax she's paying. So remember, this is the part on the top. The part she's paying extra. This is the percent she's paying extra. So I'm going to cross multiply and divide. You guys can grab your calculator as well. 140 times 575 and then divide by 100. I end up with $8.05. Okay, now you have to hopefully realize that that's not the final answer. That is just the sales tax. Okay, that was what we were finding first. To find the total, she has to pay for the sports equipment, $140, plus that $805 in sales tax. So she is going to pay $148.05. Again, you guys can be writing this anywhere on the page. So we just found out how much she was going to pay. All right, let's try another one. You can fit this anywhere on the page 73 or page 74 over in one of the margins, wherever you have a little space. So it says Ryan wants to buy a sweatshirt. It costs $42.99, and the sales tax rate in his city is 7.5%. Okay, I want to find what's the total cost for his sweatshirt, and it says round to the nearest cent. All right, so first thing, hopefully you guys know 7.5%, that is the same as 7.5% because a half is like 50 cents. Okay, so that's the same thing. So I'd like you guys to set this up and find it. Can you find me, well, what's just the tax he's going to pay? And then what's the total he will pay for his sweatshirt? So pause the video and please try that. All right, if you guys solve this, you should have had 7.5% over 100. The shirt costs $42.99. And I'm trying to find the sales tax, that part. So that's what I'm finding right there. When I type that in, I get $3.22. Now, when you guys are rounding, remember, when you have money, you just have two spots. So that's why it was like 3.224. So I just rounded it to $3.22. That is my tax. Now to get my total, I'm going to add $42.99 plus $3.22. And that gives me $46.21. All right, if you want to flip to page 75, we have our check. It says Ashley is buying a laptop for $749. The sales tax rate in her city is 8.25%. I want to know what's the total cost for her laptop, and we're going to round our answer to the nearest cent again. So if I am going to do this one, so first 8.25%. You guys might want to change that to a decimal. So 1/4, that's like 1/4. A quarter is 25. So I'm going to say that's the same as 8.25%. So go ahead, pause the video and try this one. All right, so hopefully you put 749 was the whole. I have my percentage goes over 100 and X right there. When I work that out, I end up with $61.7925. Now remember, when you're doing money, you have two decimal spots. You look at the number after it. If it's 5 or higher, you round it up a penny. If it's not, then you just keep it. So she's going to pay $61.79 just in tax. So to find her total, I need to add $749 plus $61.79. That will give me the total that she pays. And her total is $810.79. Now, again, if you did it the other way, you could have done 8.25% times the whole times 749. If I move it backwards, I get 0.0825 times 749, and I would still get the same answer. All right, let's try the next example on page 75. It says the cost of a hotel room rented for 2 nights is $280. So that means total for both nights. There's also a 12% hotel room tax. I want to know if we can figure out how much total we are going to pay. So we are going to actually work it out over on the side if you guys can do this as well. Okay, I'm going to do the equation first. You can do the percent times the whole. That will give you the part. All right, I'm just going to do this way first for once because I know some people like using this. So the percent is 12% times the whole bill is $280. That will give me the part in tax I need to pay. So 12% as a decimal is 0.12 times 280. All right, when I type that in, you guys can go ahead and type that in. You are going to get 33.6. Now, this is money, so you guys need to be careful. If I have $33.60, you must add that zero. All right, so $33.60, that's what I will pay for my tax on the hotel room. Now, to find the total, I am going to add my bill, which was $280, plus that $33.60. If you add those together, you end up paying $313.60 total. So that was the equation way. If you like the proportion way, you can set it up kind of the same way. You know the percent. You pay 12% over 100. The total bill was $280. That's your whole. You want to know the part that you're paying. A part is just the sales tax. So if you're paying that part, that's the percent you're paying. You'll still get the same answer either way you do it. All right, let's try one more. This is an extra example, so you guys can fit this wherever you have a little space. It can still be on page 75, or it could be on page 76, just over on some lines where you have some space, or on the page before. It says the cost of renting a hotel room with an ocean view is $275 per night, and you have to pay a tax of 14%. The Campos family is planning to rent the hotel room for 3 nights. I want to know, can we find how much it's going to cost for the 3 nights with the tax? All right, I want you to pause the video and I want you guys to try this. All right, so if it's $275 a night and you're doing it for 3 nights, first thing I'm going to have to do is figure out 275 times 3. All right, so 275 times 3 is 825. So that's how much just the hotel room cost. Okay, after that, I am going to set up my proportion. So I have to pay 14% tax. So 14 over 100. And my total that I'm paying for the hotel room is going to go right here. I'm paying 825. I want to know how much tax I'm going to pay. That's my part. So there's my tax percent. And then here is my tax that I'll pay. Notice how they're right across from each other. Okay, so again, there's my tax percent. So I'm going to type that in and solve it. If you didn't do that already, you can type it in. So I'm going to do 14 times 825 and then divide by 100. I end up with 115.5. Now this is money, so I need to put a 0 on the end. So that's just my tax. I'm paying $115.50. Now to get my total, I'm going to have to add $115.50 plus that $825. So I'm going to add that up. I end up with $940.50 for what I'm going to pay for those nights at the hotel room. All right, let's try one more. We're going to try this one on page 76 over in any of the space on page 76 on the lines. Okay, because we're not going to do that problem. So anywhere on page 76. So this time I'm going to tell you, hey, you bought some clothes for $45 and then they said, hey, here's your tax, $2.25. I want to know at that store, what was the sales tax rate? Was it 4%? Was it 5%? Was it 6%? What was the rate? That's what we're going to try to figure out. Okay, so we can still set this up the same kind of way. So let's go ahead and set up a proportion. This time I don't know my sales tax percentage. So I'm going to put X over 100. So this is my sales tax percent. I do not know that. Okay, I do know though the part that I paid in sales tax. That needs to go right across from it. That's my sales tax. That's the part I paid. So that's $225. Notice, if you guys notice, that this is the sales tax and across from it is the sales tax percentage. It kind of has to match up. And then 100% of the cost, well, 100% before the tax was $45. That's going to go on the bottom. Now, I do know how to solve that, so I can set this up 225 times 100 and then divide by 45. I end up paying 5% sales tax. I just had to add the label of percent. So I typed it in, cross multiplied and divide, I got 5%. So we kind of worked backwards to solve a problem where this time I gave you the tax and I did not give you the percent. All right, so our learning goal for today was, can you find sales tax? Can you also find the percentage? And can you find the total amount you would pay in a tax problem? So after you would find the sales tax, can you add it together to find the total? So hopefully you're feeling pretty good about our learning intention for today. So now you guys are going to go to Schoology and try some practice problems, okay? Just a quick reminder, if you're working with money and you end up with something like this, 33.4, you must add a 0. Okay, if you are working with money and you end up with something like this, 48.275, you cannot have $48.275. You need 2 decimal spots. Okay, so I always look at the next number right after. If it's 5 or higher, you have to round that up. So I would say, hey, that's $48.28. So just be careful on your rounding with your numbers. All right, we will practice this a little bit more tomorrow, but please try the questions in Schoology.